YouTube isn't the only place I start arguments with people, but some arguments that start on Facebook are easier to continue here if the other party is willing to continue them. So uh, this is my effort to continue an argument that started on Facebook, and this is about unobvious differences between major and minor. And here I've used regular major and harmonic minor. But if I did it with the major with a flat six or a minor with a major six, you would still see that basically the same point that things are not precisely as they are always described. Melodies historically do have style grammar. Gregorian chant has style grammar. Raga has style grammar. And a claim has been made recently, or has been again made more recently by someone on Facebook, that major and minor are the same. Writing a melody in major or minor, and for analytic purposes, is essentially the same. Whether Schenkerians or all Schenkerians necessarily agree with that is a kind of a separate question. But Schenkerian analysis is one of the ways in which music theorists like to pretend that major and minor are absolutely interchangeable. Now, I understand this little argument here, that because the harmonic grammar is essentially the same. There are a few little minor differences you could get into, but as a rule, it's more or less true that harmonic progression that works in major will work in minor, and vice versa, with some very, very small voice leading restrictions. And the 4-chord could be either chord, and it will have the same preparatory function. 5-chord is the same chord, so it doesn't, it's the same. It's the same, and the chord to which you resolve, it could kind of be either chord. And from a harmonic standpoint, it wouldn't make much difference, or would effectively make no difference in almost every case. From an analytic standpoint, I don't want to shoot this video a million times. I'm going to try to explain my next point clearly the first time. The melodic grammar that you have in tonal music is very closely related to the harmonic grammar. That's a fact. So you could say that the style grammar of tonal music is a style grammar in which a major scale and a minor scale function in the same way melodically. Here is the little problem. Style grammars do not nullify default melodic grammar. Default melodic grammar is a cognitive grammar, and it is more or less the same, we assume, almost anywhere in the world, because human neurology is more or less the same almost anywhere in the world. So, yes, style grammar does matter, but it does not nullify default cognitive grammars, including melodic grammar. So let's take a look here. I put major scale up here in sevenths, and a point to understand about sevenths is intervals approximating, or intervals that can be fairly defined as minor sevenths in a melody going up or down tend to imply reversal. As if you go up by a minor seventh, you tend to come down, tend to go in the opposite direction, is what they tend to imply. If you down a minor seventh, also reversing. Major sevenths are not like that, and whether it's because they're close to the octave, that seems to be the hypothesis. That doesn't need to be the reason, but that could be a reason. Major sevenths going up or down tend to imply continuation. So even intervals approximating, intervals that are closer to a major seventh than to a minor seventh, will tend to imply continuation. When you hear one of those intervals, regardless of what the style grammar is, your nervous system seems to, for whatever reason, and this is not my research, suggest the next thing is going to be continuing. and you can check with Narmer and Meyer, and there's a bunch of other guys you can check with. Okay, so you want to argue with me? Go ahead, argue with me in the comments section. We'll get into it. But this is what I'm telling you for the time being. Okay, here you have in this position you have a major seventh. So in that way, major and minor scales are the same. Here you have a minor seventh. So they're the same. Here, because of the minor third of the scale, you have a major seventh, okay, in the minor scale. So that implies continuation. So if you transpose or you change a major melody for a minor melody, what was a reversal interval by implication becomes a continuation interval by implication, and reversed and the other way. So I think that really good composers on some level somewhat understand this. It seems like composers don't just arbitrarily write something as major and minor. They actually do seem to think about where melodic intervals are suggesting that you're going to go next. Whether they go there or not, they seem to be more aware of this than analysts are at this point. Okay, continuing here, you have a major seventh, but here you've got this minor seventh. So that relationship is reversed here. Okay, minor sevenths coming inward, minor seventh, major seventh. That's reversed, and this is a diminished seventh, but it functions more or less like the minor seventh in that way. It doesn't. Again, these don't have to be these specific intervals. These are cognitive propensities that I'm describing. And again, please look into this. Don't trust me. Don't trust me. Look into this. See for yourself whether what I'm saying happens to be true or true enough for you. Down here is another difference where you have this perfect fourth. Depending on context, may function more as a continuation interval or as a reversal interval. The diminished fourth sounds a lot like a major third. A lot like it. So there's, depending on what style grammar you're talking about, a third may be a gap. So you may be told, oh, if it's a gap, then it needs to reverse itself. But in classical music, that's really not true, or it's not true in any consistent way. So I'm telling you is that you may be listening consciously and actively to style grammar, but some part of your nervous system, in spite of that, is listening on a more kind of reptilian level, if we can say that. The part of your brain that thinks that it's hearing everything for the first time or for almost the first time it's awake, it's alive, and it's not going away. So you can fight it or you can work with it. I'm not saying you have to do one or the other, but to pretend that somehow you can just invent a style grammar in which two things are interchangeable and expect that everyone's nervous system is just going to go completely along with that. I think that is, if it's not disproved, it's certainly not proved. So, something to think about.